Students of Success, Dr. Mike here. Today I wanted to talk to you about the path that we travel and which path we choose along this adventure of life. Lots of things happen to us every day, and self-awareness and reflection are the two main things that we need to think about on a daily basis to be able to kind of reset our compass on which direction we want to head. Too many people look at life events but don't reflect on it and how it occurs and how it hurts and helps you and different things like that. So lately I've been really thinking about, and I talk a lot about health and fitness. Yesterday I get a phone call. I do a lot of coaching of soccer young kids. I have a family that's just amazing. That one kid that's about to could end up being a professional soccer player at some point in time. The rest of the kids are all great. 11, 9, 7 years old. Dad's in the hospital, very sick. Tubes down his, for breathing and stuff. And, the majority of it is, I don't want to get too much into it, but, when you're 300 something pounds, you got to take care of yourself. I mean, it's such a tragedy to have an 11, a 9, and a 7-year-old counting on their father that didn't take care of himself physically. And I hate to talk about it, but we're at the point now where if you don't consciously choose a path of health and fitness, at some point in time you're going to go off the cliff. You've got to make this decision today. And I know I rail on it a lot, and a lot of people don't like the fact that I talk about it and talk about being unhealthy and fat and unfit, and that fat word is like you'd think it's a curse word these days, because everybody needs to feel good. Well, you can't feel good if you have tubes down your chest helping you breathe. So whenever we pick the path in life, what are the 3 different areas that we would pick? And I want you to really think about this. When you're driving down the road on your path of life, straight ahead is status quo. Status quo is what I talk about, where we work for 30 years, we're counting on a retirement, and at that point in time, then we're going to end up having a good time, we're going to enjoy our lives. That's the path that 90+% of people are on. They just keep going. They eat a certain way, they drink a certain way, they look around and they fit into their surroundings and their status quo with everybody else. They find a friend group and they just move along with that. And a lot of times they find friend groups. What we do is we find the friend groups that fit us, not that push us, oftentimes that fit us or drag us down a little bit more. That's the road straight ahead. You could choose that path. That's basically the American path right now. The one to the left, that's the one for instant pleasure. The one where you never think about tomorrow, and whenever I talk about these things where you only have so many tomorrows left, and that at some point in time you're going to die and you're not going to, so they figure, well, it's party time then. Why should I work hard? Why should I do anything? Why should I take care of myself? Because I could die tomorrow. So these people drink a lot. They don't take care of their health. They're average in their career. They're not doing anything to better themselves. All because they're listening to what I'm saying, but they're also saying, why push myself? Why work hard? They smoke. They drink. Like, hey, I'm going to die someday anyways. When you start to live this type of lifestyle, imagine if you lived. I know people that have lived 80 years and then at that time have accomplished nothing at all. They get to the retirement, they've not because they always thought that, well, you never know. I'm not saying that you have to think about tomorrow. You have to plan for it. You don't just disregard it, because what if tomorrow comes for the next 40 years? The idea of life is continuous improvement, to have a purpose. then that would be the third trail would be to the right. Now when people look at this trail, it's ups and downs and rocky and twists and turns and hills and deep valleys and stuff. They're like, wow, that looks too hard. But that is the road to having a purpose, to having some success in life. And is it going to be tough? Absolutely it's going to be tough. That's why so few people travel it. That road is your health. Being healthy and being fit and working out every single day is not easy. It takes a lot of discipline. In your career, whatever it is, advancing yourself, reading more, going to conferences, taking extra classes, trying to get promoted in your company, adding extra value. That's not easy. That is hard. In your relationships, trying to find the people that you want to surround yourself that are going in that direction. Today, that's even harder to find that. Making sure, in my instance, my belief is that our children should do better every single generation. Not every person feels that way. I do. So I sacrifice a lot in my life for my kids so that someday they won't have to sacrifice quite as much for their kids, and then hopefully that next generation, it just progresses up and up and up. We have too many people these days that feel almost threatened by their children if they do better than them, that they will leave. Well, that's what they're supposed to do. You're not supposed to stay in the nest all your life and live in your parents' basement or live on the street corner and have 5 families, 5 generations of brothers and sisters and aunts and uncles and everything all living on the same single property. Especially if it's in an area where there aren't any jobs, just to stay close. You can be close to family, but that doesn't mean they need to be your neighbor. So I'll conclude this whenever we pick those paths in life. It's completely up to you, the path that you choose. But there are rewards at the end. At that path of instant pleasure, at the end of that, there's a cliff. The one that's going ahead, the status quo, it's just a downward, slow slope into misery. But you'll be like everybody else, so you can feel good about that. The one to the right, where you're going to live your purpose, is going to be rough. It's going to be rocky. You're going to fall. You're going to get hurt. You're going to bleed. You're going to cry. It's going to happen. But through all that, you're going to grow. You're going to have strength. You're going to become the person that you were put on this planet to become. Isn't that why we're all there? And when you look at things, surround your people. When I talk a lot about negative outlook on life and a positive outlook on life. If you are negative and you see all the bitching and complaining and whining and why you talk yourself out of that road to the right, why it'll never work, no matter what happens in your life, it's a law that the results will always follow your thinking process. So no matter what happens in your life, you will automatically say, see, it's no good. It's no good. You expect things to go wrong, so guess what? They do. So that's why people choose these other paths that are easy, because they know to that one to the right, it's going to be hard and it's going to be difficult and I could fail like this. Well, if you think that way, that is exactly what's going to happen. But on the other side of it, if you think positive, are those same events going to happen to you? Are there going to be ups and downs? There are going to be negatives? There are going to be hurtful things? Yes. But if you're thinking positively about it, they all work to your advantage. And it becomes almost like magic when somebody says, boy, it doesn't seem like whatever happens to you, it always works out in your favor. Well, that's because that's the thought process. No matter what it is, if you think that at the end of the day that did something for me and allowed me to progress, even if it held me back in a certain time. It's like I say, that flat tire when you're going down the road. That negative person will be like, see, these things always happen to me, now I'm going to be late, and da-da-da-da, and all these things, and cussing and moaning and complaining for weeks. when that flat tire could have just saved you and your kids' lives, because up the road a tractor trailer driver ran through an intersection, or somebody was on their phone and swerved into another lane, and the universe saved you. Think of that. Think of how you look at things, how it can change your complete reality of your life and how you live. On one hand, everything's bad, so you attract more bad things. On the other hand, everything's positive and works to my advantage. Boy, I got that flat tire. That could have saved my life. Will we really ever know? No. But if we believe that, every time something happens, it keeps us in that positive, moving forward state. You don't get the phone call when you expected it. You don't get that raise when you expected it. You don't get those things. That's the universe saying, you're not ready. And is that true? That's true to me, because that's what I believe. So whenever those instances happen on those trails, I say, it works to my advantage. So overall, what I say, when you're choosing your path, think about your attitude. Are you a positive person? Outlook on life? Are you a negative? The Pareto principle seems to be that 80% of the people have a negative outlook on life and 20% have a positive outlook. And I talked a couple weeks ago about my plan, my path, my journey of getting to the Keys in my camper trailer with my wife, going online like me, and us being able to travel the country. Well, I can't say too much about it, but pieces are falling into place, and they're falling into place because I've created a plan, and now I'm working that plan, and job interviews are coming up. Vehicles that I need are appearing. We've gone and looked at everything is coming in line, and when a truck falls through or a job application falls through or whatever, good. That's the way it was supposed to be. When it's ready to happen, it will happen. And if you believe that in your life, it takes off every bit of stress and anxiety. You can actually sleep at night. But if you think negatively, like, oh, that just ruined everything. We know people like this. Maybe it's you that think this way. Like, oh, that didn't happen, or that didn't happen. Look, this is bad, and it's cold outside, and all the time, bitching, moaning, whining, and complaining. What a miserable life to live. Absolute misery. But some people just like to wrap themselves in that misery blanket, and it's like a trophy, like they're I can out misery you any day of the week. Well, you win, because I don't want to play part of that. If you're giving out 18th place in the misery competition, I want no parts of it. Because when I pull out of my house and drive past your job in my where I'm going, and I'm going to Florida in the wintertime, or wherever I'm going, to Key West or out west or doing whatever, think about your life. And also think that there are only so many tomorrows. That person laying in the hospital bed could be you. And just think about it, especially if you're a parent with children, how much those kids and your wife or your husband depend upon you every day. Don't say, well, I have health insurance or I have life insurance. Nothing can replace you. And the only thing you can do is take care of yourself. Because if you don't take care of yourself, you can't take care of others. So focus on you. Do the best you can do. Focus on your fitness. Focus on your career. Focus on those relationships. Be that person. Become that person that can achieve all of these things and live a purpose-filled life. Guys, there's only so many tomorrows. Go out today and live your very best life. Take care.